Hey guys, Blight here. So I'm going to do a quick narrative of this 1v1 versus a hard computer, because it seems like a lot of people have a lot of difficulties against the AI in this game. So I thought I'd just go do a quick rundown over one of my games here. Just a random system here, I think it was 2 moons. AI is just a random hard AI. And yeah, I'm gonna do a rundown as we go through this here. And my game is far from perfect, so I will kind of dissect it as we go here. So let's see. All right, so I do a quick survey. You gotta check the system. Always gotta do that after I command control 1 and make my group 1 for my commander there. First thing I do every game, so I don't lose track of them. A lot of people don't like this start build. I find it works for me. I've seen a lot of others, and I find this one just works for me without the running out of energy there. And I find with the extra bots, I seem to not tap out. And the metal seems to hold up for the most part. And yeah, so that's my start. The energy, the metal into the energy storage. It's generally the only storage I try and make throughout the game, unless it's a really late game. I always try to start with the bot factory. You know, games where I don't, I always seem to regret it. And I like getting those early construction bots out. I generally throw out 6 or 7. I think I usually get usually two different construction groups going, just kind of spread out where I am a bit without stalling myself too much. And then an extra bot following my commander, so it gives him kind of the build options. Although early on I usually just use him straight for energy. So one of the things I always lack, which I always kick myself after, is I never get that air factory up early enough. In 2 vs 2 I find it's a little more important. In the 1 vs 1, even if I rushed it at the beginning, which a lot of people like to do as well, it wouldn't change my build, not a whole lot anyways. If this was a water planet or a differently set up lava planet, I might do it just to get a little heads up depending on the terrain. But on a moon, I mean, right at this point, from where I started, there was no other big clusters right next to me, so I wasn't too concerned. And in all honesty, if he's right next to me, I'm happy to be able to pop out those basic assault bots a lot quicker. And I mean, we all know how awesome those basic assault bots are. Probably do the most damage with them than anything. So here's one of the flaws here. I'm yet to kind of tweak it a little bit. I kind of got trigger happy there. As you can see, I kind of ran out of both energy and metal. It's something that I beat myself up over right now, but it's like I said, it's still in tweaking phase there. And I mean, I do have a lot of construction bots out early, but I do bounce back pretty good in a few minutes there. This is also something I like to do on small moons right off the bat. I think it's super important that you guys get a radar up early. It gives you a huge advantage, especially if they start right next to you. See, I started with the, well, I didn't start with it, but I put up that air factory a little bit later than, some people choose to, and I don't really feel it holds me back, not especially against the computer on 1 vs 1. It's really not an issue, as you can see. So what I'm doing right now is I'm kind of separating my construction groups, because I like to expand. You want to expand as much as you can in different directions without spreading yourself too thin. So right now I'm setting those scouts on patrol for the planet. Again, I watch pros in their videos, and they seem to, Q here, Q here, Q here, but, the 4 fireflies, you put them on anything, they're going to get shot down anyways. They don't really do much, and then I don't really have to watch them. So you'll see me kind of group up my construction group, set it up here, and I'll know where with any luck, I'll know where the AI is any second now, and I can start directing my bots towards that. Basic assault bots I find are just the best meat, and see, there's the computer right up in the North Pole, I believe. So what I've done there is I've got my other construction crew here. I originally went up here to start an expansion. Now what I'm gonna do here, which I find works really good against, especially against the AI, and actually in 1 vs 1s, if you can pull it off, it works wonders against other players. Just basically setting up a line, always starting with a radar there just to see if he's coming at my construction bots or not. But I'm going to set up not so much an artillery line, but kind of a chunk of defense there, just so I can kind of hold this second expansion here. Plus it puts a lot of pressure on their base and gives me a little bit of leeway between the gap between them and me. Yeah, so as you can see, I'm still trying to fix my energy issue. you know, it's not a bad thing that I'm out. I've expected to be. And see, my radar kicks in. I can see him, which the computer is awesomely, you know, basically known for, is sending little clusters all the way around the world to get you. So he knows where I am because of his flyer, and I can see his chunk coming at me there. Luckily, I've got basic builders, or basic assault bots built already, which is one of the many reasons I love to start with them. Really had one assault bot more, won that fight without a problem. I'm just gonna kind of push up a little bit there. So energy's kind of fixed, and keeping in mind it is low because I did set up a little bit of a defensive line on the south there in my second metal cluster. So, alright, there's another bot factory. I'll get that building. This is where I'm going to set up my line. It kind of puts pressure, it stops him from grabbing that cluster, it gives me access to the below, and I like to, you'll see me flick over the pelter a lot just to get the range kind of in tow there. So what I'm doing here is I'm just kind of making sure he can't rush me too bad or kind of stop this. So if these towers go up, I'm going to know right off the bat that I've kind of got him pinched in there. And look, he saw me coming, so I'm going to back off a little bit. I already got a tower built. So I'm just going to go like that, as you can see, get another tower up just to stop him. And I don't know if he didn't have radar, if it's just because he's the computer, but yeah, it was just construction bots. So I'm going to rush back up there and try and get that tower up. At this point, I basically put the air factory on just auto build for the, with patrol over my base with fighters. It just stops any kind of bomber harass, stops any scouts from going over. And plus you'll use them later, so you always want to be doing that. I like to keep my commanders build, because they, just the speed-wise, I like to keep that energy base, especially with the towers that I'm building now. I gotta keep that energy up. I eat through it pretty good. And basically since the beginning I haven't had a metal issue. Plus I've got tons of expansion for metal, so it's not really an issue. So I'm going to be popping out as much energy as I can with the commander, and I'll just keep that steady with him building. I've got 2 more factories building bots down there, and what I'm going to do is, I know where he is, I know where he's going to be coming from. I've got a little bit of a defensive line up, so I'm going to push forward and try and get some vehicle factories a little bit closer to his base. Gives me a, you know, it lets me keep pressure on, which is especially key against the AI. Right, so it looks like, again, he's coming from the side to put pressure on my base here, and I'm going to I actually misclicked there. I was going to walk the commander over, I was going to get a tower up, but he wasn't done building. So, once again, I duke it out with my assault bots versus his, difference being that I've got a constant stream of them still coming, so I'm not too concerned at this point. Also, what am I going to lose? A little bit of metal? It's fine. One thing I'm not lacking. My key here is to keep him away from my energy. So, gotta flick back to this. I've got 1 tower up, a little bit of anti-air up. I'm gonna get that pelter up, because as soon as that pelter's up, everything in that range is basically stopped until he gets too advanced. Unless he's building a pelter right now to stop me. And as you can see, he suicided a bomber and did knock it down. I'll just rebuild that. Good old AI. I'll get some extra towers up there. One thing to keep in mind is that those extra vehicle factories that I'm putting up right there, they're kind of key. As soon as they go up, I can keep constant stream of tanks on them, which walk through bots and will keep the pressure back on his side. It'll stop letting him walk into my base, though, walking the long way around. And as you saw earlier on, I do have a little bit of D in the south side, just in case, an extra tower or 2. So he's not just going to walk up from the south with a couple bots and do any real damage. And from the last hit, I've got a queue of one of my factories actually pooling up there. Okay, so I've got tower going up. Tanks are already building. I wasn't concerned about the assault bots coming in. Tanks walk through them. And now with the 3 factories, I'm building more tanks than he can keep up with at that point. So he's not going to hurt me there. So I'm going to try and expand my artillery line a little bit here, just make sure it's, you know, kind of seal it off a little bit. One thing I didn't like about this game right off the bat is I'm already lacking construction bots back in my base for some reason. I don't know why I cut myself short there, but something I wish I hadn't have. The energy wasn't so much of an issue. I had a lot of stuff building at a lot of different times, a lot of towers, everything. It's really the towers eating it up, but you know, as you can see, I haven't really negated out too many times. I do a couple times here and there, but with the commander building constant, it doesn't seem to hurt me too much. Like right here, I did bottom out for a couple seconds there, though. but it flicks on enough that my radar and pelter keep shooting, so I'm not too concerned about it. And again, the commander and his crew are building, so it'll get back up there. Alright, so he's going to keep constant pressure on me. He's trying to put pressure on the side of my base here. He just can't due to the sheer amount of tanks that I've got just pushing out right there now. And because of the early pressure I have on him, he's not going to have anything other than basic assault bots. You know, he might have he might have bombers, which we saw a couple times here and there, but they're just getting chewed up by the missile turrets, so I'm not concerned about them either. So my main goal here is to just get my energy back in check. A little bit of extra D there just in case he comes around the side. And yeah, I got another pelter going up because, again, that pelter basically, I own that area and he can't do anything about it. So now I've got access to the metal behind here. I took it away from him, which was the whole idea. And that pelter just keeps busy. And if I can get that other one up a little bit closer there, it just pushes a little more and more into his base. Keeping in mind, I know it seems like it's already quite a way in there and I should have advanced, but just the sheer amount of pressure I've kept on with the artillery that he can't just ignore, because as soon as you ignore that artillery, I just inch closer and you lose factories and you lose metal. He's, at this point, the computer's just trying to keep the pressure up and trying to keep expanding in the other direction without giving up the front of their base, pretty much. If they were to stop that front of the base, I would just push in from the bottom and it would be game. So you can see here I'm kind of slacking off on the actual game here. Yeah, so you can see that he popped up a pelter to try and stop my expansion there, but you know, it's out of range from my original one, so okay, I can't push to the right any further. Alright, so you know, he's suiciding bombers, he can't really get past that line, so especially with the AI, they like to just keep that steady stream of troops, which seems to get people. I'm keeping it down pretty easily here with just kind of turrets, and I'm kind of sending in my stuff, doing little bits of damage, but enough that he's staying off my base and I'm still growing, and he's struggling to expand. So yeah, I'm going to pop another pelter a little bit closer, because if I get that one off, I get that whole other circle. I got my commander building extra turrets in the base. I forgot about that vehicle factory. I wanted more bots. Like I was saying earlier, I don't know what happened with my lack of construction bots. I should have had one of my bot factories there popping out more. I didn't, but so I'm realizing, okay, you know, I'm in a good excessive plus. I've got early T1 pressure. I'm doing pretty good. I'm gonna take the time now to get to advance. So you can see my commander, he's only got 2 construction bots with him, but again, it wasn't really much of a hurry. Throwing up the advanced bot factory, and I love my sniper bots, so I'm gonna get those going here. Yeah, okay, so I got the pelter keeping busy, got the missile, you know, keeping the fighters off, keeping anything off, and there goes my last construction bot in this area. So he did snipe out a couple of my construction bots. It was more annoying than anything. But the sheer amount of tank pressure I put on him just from getting this close and getting that line where you can't touch just keeps him busy and keeps him, you know, keeps him from doing anything other than focusing on stopping me. I'm not too worried about him sending a huge troop from the south or anything, because if he had left that many troops gone out of his base, my tanks would just walk through. So I'm going to continue. Something you always want to do is just, I've got an excess of energy and metal, I'm going to continue putting up the factories. I'm just doing another T1 here because those tanks are working so well. And I'm pretty damn close to his base, so those T1 tanks are awesome. Waiting on this to finish here. Commander's busy. I had actually changed one of the bot factory queues to stay in the bases just in case, you know. So you'll see that I had assault bots pooling up just in case he did sneak anything around. Now I'm gonna go make sure he didn't do any expansions in the other metal, and don't really want him getting built up anywhere else while I'm busy up here. So I'll get more tanks there. You'll see that I'm gonna get more construction bots or construction vehicle bots going here. And I'm going to put up another T1 factory just because I'm in an excessive amount and I want to keep it steady here. You can see this is kind of where I started slacking off a little bit. I had way too much energy and way too much metal, excessive at this point, where I should have been using it. Hence why I was putting up more factories. But again, I was just down on construction bots, and I had actually queued them up here, and you can see it. There's 3 of them up there I just kind of forgot about. So I'm going to go advanced and realize, hey, I don't want, if he does make a push back, I should probably put it a little further back. I'm going to readjust that. And I think I'll grab those other 3 and put them on there. Well, get the advanced vehicles going, because as soon as those are up, I'll get to go here. And this is where I start fixing my, my construction bot problem here. I've got advanced construction bots going up now with the commander rushing them, so a couple of those will get done. My metal starts to get really low here, just from the sheer amount of factories building constant. Keeping in mind I still had turrets going and all this. So what I'm going to do with one of the first bots, one of the advanced construction bots, is I'm going to get one or two of them just rebuilding all my metal extractors to just get the advanced metal extractors there, fix that problem. And then I'm going to get the advanced energy up just to make sure my eco is good. And just keep the steady pressure up. But this time, I'm not too concerned about the AI at this point. I feel I have it. I'm just trying to keep steady going here. You'll see I'll group them up with my commander here, get more done, and go from there. Excuse me. So those pelters are just keeping constant pressure on. So what you'll see I'm going to do next is, because that artillery worked so good, I'm going to get a catapult building. Catapults take a huge amount of time to build, well, unless you mass rush them, but if I got a catapult up on a small moon like this, especially that close to his base, it doesn't matter how far he expanded in the other direction, it's going to wear and tear him down, especially if he doesn't have one going up either. So keeping the constant amount of tanks on him, he's trying to just keep up at this point. So I'm waiting for that advanced vehicle factory to finish, and then you'll see that I am going to rush up a catapult. And again, I'm inching forward here more and more, just trying to keep the pelter pressure on. Every building he loses, and it just pushes my line even further. So those bots that I set around, just keep hassling them back. No reason not to. There's that other, those bots that I had kept in my base, just kind of rebuilding. No reason to keep them here. Radar says nothing's coming, I'll send them in. And you'll see another huge wave of just T1 tanks that are so close yet just so deadly at this point. Just something that can't be ignored. I love my T1 bots for harass, but when you're that close, you just push in with tanks like that, and he has to stop you a certain way. Because of the pelter line, he can't really put up laser turrets. He'd need to put up a pelter line of his own just to stop my pelters, because I'm inching forward a little bit and a little bit. He hasn't really had a chance to put up laser towers, so he can't really stop me. And that and the constant pressure, and he's just trying to get enough troops to, match me for this point. So that's why I'm just sending him in, and I'm getting a building here and there, and I'm just pushing in further and further. And that's all I'm aiming to do with those units. So as you can see, I'm trying to get those T2 vehicle bots right here, closer to that line. And I only wanted one, just to get that catapult building. I already had construction bots, and I wanted to get that mobile artillery up, so I can just move in his base and end it. So I'll send my crew up here, and I'll get that catapult building, and you can see just the range difference. That's basically it. So I've got all these T1 construction bots here I'm going to use to get that catapult up. Action defense tower. As you can see, just from the T1 factories, I've eaten through all my metal, and for some reason I was putting up energy instead of fixing my metal issue. So you'll see I start sending these guys off here to upgrade that. Just try and fix the metal. And this is just me being bored. The energy going up. Yeah, so that catapult is going up. I'm still in a plus, and you see that as soon as I start building at the commander's coming at me because he doesn't really have anything else to do. So those bots, he doesn't really have the energy to bomb me. One there, but not a whole lot. Even then, he pushed forward, the pelters on him, all the bots on him, and that's game. That was a very simple way to walk through a AI. Game went good for me. A lot of things I could have improved on. One of the many things was the construction bots early on, as you guys all saw. I did tap my metal out later on, and I guess I just wasn't concerned about it. I did have expansion I could have taken still. But overall, I don't find the hard AIs that difficult if you keep the early pressure on like that, especially with the vehicles. And yeah, I'd love to hear from you guys for any suggestions or feedback on basic gameplay, and let me know.